Hey everyone, so this is a call. And so what I'm going to talk about in this video is I want to talk about the MicroCosmic Orbit, which is a practice that a lot of those who have, let's say, read into Taoist practices, Mantak Chia, etc., you might recognize this practice. However, I've kind of always had difficulty personally with this particular practice. So because what I needed something more tactile, more physical. It wasn't enough for me simply to be moving my mind up the spine and down the front of the body. Now, why would you want to do the microcosmic orbit? Well, you might want to do microcosmic orbit. You could do it as a sexual transmutation practice. You can do it just as a centering practice. But most of all, what I found useful about this practice, particularly the way that I'm going to teach it, is that it's deeply centering. It helps so much with sort of honing the mind to the body, the various signals the body are giving off, the pulsations, the spins, the energy expressions of the body. So in general, this is a somatic exercise. It is to cultivate the mind-body connection. So before I continue into the practice itself, down below the video, I have a couple programs that are listed. One is a sexual energy coaching program, which is a very powerful six-week or 6-session progression, which can be done in person, over Zoom, or it has a video-based version as well. And you can click that link and you'll go to my website where I have all that information. So, and also down below the video is another program that I created, which is, it's not really an ongoing progressive video, but is extremely powerful practice for transmuting sexual energy as well as bringing the immune system into harmony or perfect balance. So now let's go ahead and get into the practice itself. So the practice itself is, again, generally when they talk about a microcosmic orbit, what they're saying is, so you move your awareness up the spinal cord, and oftentimes they attach the breath to this. So you move your awareness up the spinal cord, inhaling as you move up. Once you reach the top of the crown or inside the head, then you start to move your awareness back down the front of the body. Now, what makes it kind of interesting, as I've read several versions of this practice, some of which are very dependent on moving. I believe the term is the yi mind. I could be wrong about that, but it's about basically moving the mind up the spine and down the front of the body. All right, so and there's also extended versions in which you move down your inner thighs, up your outer thighs, etc., etc. But in essence, the one thing that I was always missing with these exercises were tactile points of contact within the body itself. Because it is when you're contracting and relaxing different areas of the body, you start to cultivate and engage the nervous system. When you start cultivating and engaging the nervous system, essentially what you do is you strengthen that connection, which makes it easier for you to move your mind within your body anyway. Now, how this is also helpful is that if you have a good, cultivated, strong nervous system, it can do what? It can handle kundalini. It can handle spirit as it starts to rise upward. It can handle a very powerful implosion like an orgasm. So that's in essence what we're wanting to do, many of us anyway, particularly for men, is we're wanting to learn how to experience orgasm, the pleasure of orgasm, and the power and the possibilities that are connected to orgasm in terms of like emotional release, catharsis, etc. But also, what I found is that orgasm will oftentimes activate some of my higher centers. I'll perceive more light or have visions and things of that nature. So this particular practice, like I said, has many, many points of engagement, areas in which you're contracting, relaxing, and also fixing your awareness. So when you're fixing your awareness, what you're searching for is energy. Now, what do I mean by energy? What I mean by energy is heat, tingling sensations, spinning sensations, pulsation. Let's see what else. The perception of light, or sometimes the perception of sound. Could be buzzing sounds, etc. So, and all these things you may experience in different areas of the body. So basically what we're going to do here, let me go ahead and give you the general summation. So we're going to do some breath of fire first. So breath of fire essentially is done from down below the navel down here. When I pull in the belt line, air goes out, and when I relax the belt line, air comes in. So it's a rapid pulling in and releasing, pulling in and releasing. It's like giving yourself the Heimlich maneuver. All right, so the reason we're doing breath of fire is two things. One, saturates you with oxygen, which decreases the neediness to inhale. If you decrease the neediness to inhale, the anxiousness to inhale, then what you get is more stillness. And it's within the stillness that you can perceive heat, tingling, pulsations, spin, light, etc. Right? So you can perceive energy more clearly when things are still. Because the first portion, the upward portion of the this microcosmic orbit practice that I'm going to teach you, the upward portion is dealing with each one of the chakras. And I'm not going to relate to the chakras literally as what they are, but rather we're going to refer to the chakras sort of by referencing points within the body, which are not literal chakras. All right, so they're simply points in the body that correspond to the chakras. But we're going to be wanting to feel the energy in these particular points. So hence, the practice is on breath retention. So you're going to be inhaling, retaining the breath, lifting the anus and the perineum, and then feeling the certain areas inside the body. It'll make sense when we get there. Now, the other reason to do breath of fire, besides oxygen saturation, is that it draws you into your body's true center of gravity, which is below the navel. This is your body's true center of gravity, your true center of mass. We have a conditioned center of gravity which lies here, which over time, this happens, right? We get these postures that are all hunched and rounded because we're leading from here and not the navel point. Many athletes and dancers and things like that, they learn how to lead from the belly. So generally, these people have pretty good postures and alignment. So that is breath of fire. After breath of fire, then we're going to go into, as I described earlier, the upward movement through the chakras. And that is going to be the upward portion of the microcosmic orbit. Now, what you're going to do here with this is I'm going to have you focusing on the anus in the perineum specifically, because this is going to kind of pull the awareness slightly towards the back side of the body. Again, up the back part of the body, down the front part of the body, all right? So what we're going to be doing here is you're going to contract the anus, the perineum, and then you're going to inhale in 3 sniffs. And you're going to, after that third sniff, your awareness is going to go to that place I will direct you toward. So we'll say, once again, below the navel, about the belt line. We can call that the sacral chakra. And what we're going to do here again is you're going to contract the anus, the perineum, and sniff 3 times. By that third sniff, your awareness is deeply consolidated inside the belly, below the navel, right above the perineum, approximately. So that is how that practice will be done. And we'll go from the navel point up to the solar plexus, up to the heart, up to the throat, up to the third eye, and then to the crown itself. So that will be the upward movement. Now the downward movement we're going to do as a unzipping. It's in your mind's eye. You're going to unzip from the crown of the head, down the front, all the way down the lips, down the neck, down the throat, down the body center line, all the way until you once again return to the navel point, which once again is down below the actual navel itself, about 2 fingers inside the body. In this place, you might feel a very strong pulse. And so the other thing I'll say is that the unzipping, in my mind, I actually picture a zipper unzipping. And what I'm doing is I'm inhaling very, very, very slow. So I'll oftentimes break up the inhale into segments. So I'm inhaling, and I'm moving my sense of feeling as I'm mentally unzipping. So you're connecting the mind and the visual with sensation and feeling. Very important. And a very powerful way to sort of, again, create that mind-body integration. So let's go ahead and we'll get into the practice. Like I said, everything we're going to do here is going to be pretty brief. I'm not going to do this as a full practice. So I highly encourage you to do this on your own. But we're going to start with about a minute of breath of fire, 45 seconds actually. So somewhere in between 45 seconds and a minute. When you're doing this on your own, you want to do breath of fire for as long as you want, but try to do at least a minute to a minute and a half, okay? So let's go ahead and I'll walk you through this progression. So pulling up nice and tall. Let me go ahead and lower this a bit. All right, so nice tall spine. You want to connect, push that perineum downward. Lift the chest. Tuck the chin gently. All right, so you want a nice tall spine. Also very important here is to keep in mind that down below your perineum is the earth. Above the crown is the heavens above, right? So we're essentially connecting heaven and earth, and we are the Trinity, right? So Father, Son, Holy Spirit. So this is a big Trinity thing here. All right, so connect perineum, crown, and then we're going to take a deep breath in. Exhale the air out. Inhale a half breath, and we'll begin breath of fire. Again, when the belt line pulls in, air goes out. When the belt line relaxes, air comes in. So pull in, air goes out. Just a little bit more. Good. Let's go ahead and take a deep breath in. Retain the breath. 10 seconds. Exhale the air out. Leave the breath out. Now what I'm going to have you do is I'm going to have you contract your anus and your perineum. Perineum's the space right in front of the anus behind the genitals. Contract that area. Inhale in 3 sniffs. Place the awareness inside the belly, below the navel. Retain the breath. Anus contracted, perineum lifted. Feel and sense. Heat, spinning, pulsations. Go ahead and relax. Exhale all the air out. Keep the awareness inside the belly. Good. So now contract the anus, perineum. Inhale in 3 sniffs, moving up to the solar plexus. That's below the sternum, but above the navel. Again, anus contracted, perineum lifted. Feeling and sensing inside the solar plexus. When you're ready, go ahead and relax. Exhale the air out, but keep the awareness inside the solar plexus. Good. Now we're going to go ahead and contract the anus, the perineum. Inhale in 3 sniffs, moving up to the center of the sternum. Awareness at the sternum, superficially on the skin, or you can pull your awareness inside the body. Perineum lifted, anus contracted, feeling and sensing whatever you feel inside the heart space. Go ahead and relax. Exhale the air out, but keep the awareness behind the sternum or around the sternum. Good. Now contract the anus, lift the perineum. Inhale up to the base of the throat, so approximately the clavicle line. Awareness of throat, clavicle, feeling and sensing. Go ahead and relax. Exhale. Keep the awareness around the throat. Good. So now we're going to place the tongue to the roof of the mouth. Roll the eyes up gently so you're looking at the space in between the brow point or the center of the forehead. Lift the anus, the perineum. Inhale in 3 sniffs, moving up from the throat into the center of the head. Good. Perceiving any light, pulses, heat, tingling sensations. Go ahead and relax everything. Exhale. Keep the awareness inside the head. Good. So now the final point is about a foot above the head, above the crown. So once again, tongue at the roof of the mouth, eyes rolled up towards the crown, or what you perceive above the crown. You may perceive light above the crown. Contract the anus, perineum. Inhale in 3 sniffs, moving the awareness above the head. Tongue at the roof of the mouth, eyes rolled up. Perceiving what you perceive above the head. Exhale. Relax. Feeling and sensing whatever you feel above the head, on the head itself. Good. So part 3, now we're going to move into the movement back down the body. So placing the awareness at the crown. And now we're going to slowly inhale. And again, in your mind's eye, you may want to perceive like a zipper unzipping all the way down the body's center line, all the way down to the navel. And if you need to break this up into multiple breaths, that's fine. But let's go ahead and begin by exhaling all the air out. And then as you inhale, allow the inhale to pull your awareness, moving your sense of feeling all the way down, tip of the nose, top of the lip, bottom lip, chin, throat, sternum. If you can, make this the longest possible inhale you can, but otherwise pause when you need to exhale, and then continue the inhale. All the way down till you're at that space, once again, below the navel. Once your awareness is down, has returned to the space below the navel, I want you to go ahead and contract and relax the genitalia. Creating a sexy feeling, just contracting and relaxing. Exhale the air out. Then once again, lift the perineum. You contract the genitals gently. Inhale the awareness into the belly. Feeling inside the belly. Exhale and relax. And just meditate with your awareness inside the belly. So hopefully you all enjoyed this practice, and I highly suggest you meditate for at least 5 minutes after doing this practice. Thank you all.